Okay, so having done that, so then we are supposed to do the primary allocation, whereby you decide to use the ratios or the overhead absorption rate strategy. Then from here, you'll be able to tell us what each department is going to receive from the primary allocation. Having done your primary allocation, you'll be told to go ahead, and do the secondary allocation, whereby you're supposed to apply the repeated stepwise or continuous allocation method. You go to simultaneous method or algebraic method. What you need to understand is how many departments do we have? And at the end of the day, you'll be able to see that we have maybe 2 service departments. At this level, you'll not be given more than 2 service departments, because the moment you have more than 2 service departments or 3, we are moving to what we call multivariable method. So multivariable algebraic method, you're going to come up with a function whereby y is equal to, let's say, a plus x1 plus x2. So these ones here, when you have several unknowns, that is y, x1, x2, you'll be required to use either matrix or maybe even regression method to come up with that. But with the multiple variables or multivariable method, we are not going to deal with that. You'll always be given 2 service departments. So it's the 2 service departments that are going to reapportion their expenses or the overheads to the production departments. Of course, production department, we can have A, we can have B, we can have C. Then the service departments will only be 2. So in the question that you did in that particular cut, are you able to identify what we have there? So your assignment will be August 2023 for CPA, a question of the same kind. You should be able to do it. And just take a screenshot of that. Take a screenshot of that question, then we mark it together. So that is it. So let's go to that particular question very fast. I believe all of us have got that cut paper. No one is joining us for the first time. I believe no one is joining us for the first time. Tuko pamoja. I believe no one is joining us for the first time. The theory papers, where do I have it here? I'm joining for the first time. So those who are joining for the first time, the cut is there. It has not been locked. You can access it. But for the interest of time, I will share this one here with you. So I've shared it in the group. You can have a look at it. Good. So that one has been shared. Let's now proceed. We are looking at this question number. We are looking at this question number 3. No. Yes. Question number 3. A. Anything dealing with theory, it has already been posted there. So it is upon you to go through that 72 pages document and be able to understand any theory that will appear in your exams. All theories that will be appearing in your exams are already presented in that 72 pages document. So whatever is remaining is upon you to master what is indicated in that particular context. We are doing question number 3A. We are told that Vincom Limited has 3 production departments and 2 service departments. The following is their budget factory or budgeted factory overheads for the year ended 31st of August 2023. Production department, MNP. Service departments, we have X and Y. Total 186,000, 144,000 for service departments. Production departments, we have 340,000, 180,000, 220. The service department costs are to be reapportioned as per the following percentages. X is giving 20% to M, 30% to N, 35% to P. Then 15% to Y. Y is giving 30% to M, 30% to N, 30% to P, and 10% to X. Required, reapportion the service department costs to the production departments using the stepwise method to using the simultaneous equation method. Sasa stepwise, hiyo ni kazi yenu, because both the two methods will give you the same answer. So I want us to just use the simultaneous method. The simultaneous method. So here we have been given MNP, and then we have XY. We've been given these two. So once we've been able to do that, just come and indicate to us what you are sharing out. So we have what was distributed under primary. Of course, you can have the amount somewhere there. So you have the amounts. Then you have details or particulars. You can have details. You can have details. So we have primary allocation. The primary allocation, as you can see, the total amount which was given there under primary allocation, M has got 340,000. N has got 180,000. P has got 220,000. X has got 186,000. And then Y has got 144,000. That is what we have. Then we now move to primary. We now move to secondary allocation. It is these amounts that you're supposed to allocate. These amounts that you're supposed to allocate to the other departments. So the total amount there we have 70,000. That's what we are going to allocate. Now, remember the assumption which we made? X will be giving out the total of what it has plus what it is going to receive from Y. Y will be giving out the total which it is having plus what it will be receiving from X. So how do we get the total of X and how do we get the total of Y? That's what we are going to use to help us get the share from each of the service departments. So we are going to say let total overheads of this X department be X. Let the total overheads of Y department be Y. That's the first assumption that you are making there. Then the next step, you're going to tell us that for us to get the total which X will be giving out, it is 186 plus a percentage of the total of Y. What have we said about Y? Let the total of department Y be Y. So let's look at the question. In terms of percentage, how much is X giving to Y? 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 X is giving out 15% of its total to Y. So Y is going to give out the total, which is 144, plus what it will be receiving from X. How much is it receiving from X? It is receiving 15% of the total of X, which is 0.15 of the total of X. What did we say about the total of X? Let total overheads of X department be X. So it is receiving 0.15 of the total of X. How about department X? It will be giving out 186,000 plus what it will be receiving from Y. And what percent is X receiving from Y? What percent is X receiving from Y? What percent is X receiving from Y? What percent? X is receiving 10%. So X will have 186,000 plus 10% of the totals of Y. What did we say about the totals for department Y? What did we say about the totals for department Y? What did we say about the totals for department Y? It is represented by which letter? Represented by letter Y. So X is receiving 0.1 or 10% of the totals of Y. So if you're going to do secondary allocation here, you start with what X will be giving out. X will be giving out its total. X will be giving out its total to all these departments. What is the total for department X? The total for department X, we said is equivalent to, total for department X, we said is equivalent to X, is it? So we say X, the total for department X, which is X, is equal to what we have now, 186 plus 0.1 of Y, 186,000 plus 0.1 of Y. How about the totals for Y? The totals for Y, we said, let it be equivalent to Y. And are we able to get it from this table? It is 144,000 plus 0.15 X. Are we now conversant with this procedure? Because it is from this point, that is going to determine whether you are going to get a 0 or 10 over 10. Tuko sawa na hapa? How to come up with this equation? Are we okay with this procedure? Is there anyone who is not okay with the procedure? I believe all of us are now okay with the procedure. I believe all of us are now conversant with this procedure. Good. So having done this, please go ahead and look for the unknowns. Go ahead and look for the unknowns. How will we calculate these unknowns? Make one of them to be the subject of the formula. Just come to this part here and tell us here that X is equal to 186,000 plus 0.1 Y, and Y is equal to this. So just take 0.1 into Y, which is 144,000 plus 0.15 X. That is what we have. X is equal to 186,000 plus 0.1 Y. Y is equal to this. So just make, where we have Y, replace it with all of this. Or you can even now use X down here instead of starting with X. You can use this option, or you come and tell us that Y is equal to 144,000 plus 0.15 X. And what do we have as X? 186,000 plus 0.1 Y. So any of the two will take you to the answer. Any of the two will take you to the answer. So let's say we want to pick this one here. So I have y is equal to 144,000 plus 0.15. We have to place this in bracket. So take 0.15 by 186,000. What will you have? 0.15 by 186,000. 0.15 by 27,900. So we have 27,900 plus, this is a positive, multiplied by a positive, you're going to have a positive 0.15 by 0.1. 0.15 by 0.1, tunakuwa na ngapi? 0.15 by 0.1. Tunakuwa na ngapi? 0.0, 0.015y. So we have y here. Remember, we've now eliminated x. We add two unknowns, x and y. We've eliminated x. We are only remaining with one unknown, which is y. So y, collect them together, y minus 0.015y is equivalent to 144,000 plus 27,900. Tunakuwa na ngapi? 144,000 plus 27,900. Tunakuwa na ngapi? 171,900. I'm told this one is 171,900. 171,900. Somebody to confirm? These two, if you add them, you are getting 171,900. Are you getting that? Good. So someone has gone ahead and even given us the difference here. Y minus 0.15y is the same as something here. Someone has given me the result. 0.985. 0.985y is equal to 171,900. Go ahead and give us the value of y. Go ahead and give us the value of y. So y is equivalent to what figure? 2 decimal places, maybe for this is not bad. 174.58, 17.77, 174, 517.77. 0.77. Is it 77 or 78? 0.77. Okay. That's what we have as the value of y. Y is equal to this. Sasa ukuja hapa juu where you are indicating that x is equal to 186,000 plus 0.1 y. And now we have the value of y. So 0.1 of 174, 517.77. Tukifanya hivyo, tunapata ngapi as the value of x? Tunapata ngapi as the value of x? 23451.78. 23451.78. Having done that, you now come to this area and x is distributing. What is it distributing? It is distributing the total which it is having. X is distributing the total which it is having. And we've been able to see what x will be receiving from y, and we've been able to see what y will be receiving from x. So somebody will decide. Remember, this one here was using it to enable you understand how we come up with the equation. These ones here, we are using them to enable you understand how to come up with that equation. And now that we have the equation, let's put the real figures. Let's put the real figures. So here, x will be giving out the total which it received and also what was given under primary allocation. What did we say? Let the total overheads of x department be x. So it means the value of x, which we've calculated up here, represents the total received by this department. 203, 451.78. 203, 451.78. So it means if you're going to distribute this one here, you distribute it based on the percentages that are given there. If X is giving out its total cost, what percentage is it giving to M? 20%. So someone should go ahead and give us 20% of this figure, 20% of this. 20% of this, someone should go ahead and give us that 20% of this. Tutapata ngapi? 20% of this. 20% of this tunapata ngapi? 40,690.36. So we have 40,690.36. About 30% of that. 30% of that unapata ngapi hapa? 30% of that utakuwa na ngapi? Remember, X is giving N 30%. So what is 30% of this? Watu wamelala. Watu wameanza kupotea. 30% of that, 61,035 or 35.53. 61,035.53. Okay, how about the other one? That is P. P is supposed to receive 35%. Itakuwa ngapi? 35%, 7128.12. Then Y is receiving 15%. Y is receiving 15% of that. 15% of that itakuwa ngapi? 15% of that itakuwa ngapi? 3518. 518 or 517? To two decimal places. We have tried to use two decimal places, so let's maintain that. 517.77. 517.77. Having done that, let's now go to what Department Y will be giving out. Department Y is going to give out the total which it is having. How do we know the total of Department Y? Let the total overheads of Y, Department B, Y. And the value of Y, we have it down here. So this is what we are going to transfer to this particular point. 174,517.77. That is what Y is giving out. So can Y distribute that? Can Y distribute that based on the percentages that we have down there? Y is giving out 30, 30, 30, then 10. So can someone go ahead and give us 30% of this figure? 30% of this figure itakuwa ngapi? 30% of this figure itakuwa ngapi? 52,355, 52.53, 52,355.53, 52,355.53. Then about 0.53 or 33, 0.33. Then here, 10% of that, 17,451. Ndio hii 17,451.78. Okay, so having done that, you are through with the distribution. That is the good thing about, that's the good thing about algebraic method. Algebraic method, you only do it twice, not the repeated one. No, Just do it twice, and then you are done with that. So just get the summation of everything. I know this one will be transferred 10. And it confirms that anything you're going to get here, if you add all of them, they should be able to be the same or close due to rounding off. So give me the figures. Give me the figures. Give me the figures. Give me the figures. If you add everything for department M, unapata ngapi? Somebody to add N, somebody to add P. Alafu, X and Y will just confirm for me. Let me do it for you. So I'm done with X and Y. Just give me M and P. What do we have? What do we have there? Can we add these ones here? 340,000, 4690.36, 1053, 355.33. And at this point, you can decide now to give us a whole number. 293 for M, think M, 293, 293, 293, 390, so the 391. That is M. P I'm told is 340, 343, 343, 563. How about N? M is 430, N your 291, or in your N, 293, 391, na hii ingine nimeambiwa ni 433,046. Kuna kitu kama hiyo. For benefit of doubt, try to add these ones here and confirm if you are getting these results that I've indicated here. Try to add them. Try to add them. Try to add and see if you'll be able to arrive at the same figure as mine. That is X and Y. That is X and Y. Are they adding up? Good. So that's what you are required to do. Now, is there anyone who has got a problem with the repeated method? Is there someone who has an issue with the repeated method? Is there someone with an issue concerning repeated method? Which part? Which part of the repeated method? Which part of the repeated method? Which part of the repeated method? Repeated method. Repeated method now does not go this direction. The repeated method does not summarize everything. It does not summarize all that. From the name, repeated method, you are going to repeat that procedure until all overheads are distributed to, it gives negative, so it is equal to 0, right? If you maintain the rounding off here, haungepata 0. That's why I was insisting on 2 decimal places. So if you come to this part, X will start. X is going to give out what it is having. How much does X have as at now? 186,000. That is what X will be giving out In what proportion? In the ratio of 20, 30, 35, and 15. So someone to share this very fast, just go to your calculator, write 186,000 times, then in front of that, just indicate 0.2, you give me the answer. Hapa unakuwa na ngapi? X is giving to M 20% of this, 37,200. Sasa hapo utakuwa na 37,200. Then from that point utakuwa na gani tena hapa? Is giving out 30%. 30% ya hiyo ni ngapi? 55,800. Then to P, 35%, 65,100. Na si tumeambiwa X will be giving to Y. So what percent is X giving to Y? 15%. So what is 15% of this? 15% of this tutakuwa na ngapi? 27,900. Now it is the turn for Y to give out. Y is giving out what it has received as at today, as at this particular point. So what is the total that Y will be giving out? It is what it was given under primary plus the portion given from X. So what is the total if you add these two? Utakuwa na ngapi? 171,900. That is what Y is giving out. In what proportion? 30, 30, 10. So what is 30% of this? Mtu aweke hapa. 30% of that itakuwa ngapi? 51,570, 51,570, 51,570, 51,570. X or Y has given out what it received. But in the process, it has also given some amount to X. And therefore, X will not keep quiet. X have to give out everything again. In what proportion? In what proportion will X give out this? In the ratio of 20, 30, 35. Sasa tuendele. X 17,190. X is giving out wapi hapo. Something is wrong. Is it this one here? 17,190. Good. So it is going to give out that 17,190 received from Y. So if X is going to give out 17,190, in what proportion? In the ratio of 20 to 30 to 35. Sasa tupeane 20% of this. Tunapata ngapi? 20% of that tunapata ngapi? Give us 34, 38. Then N will receive 30%. 30% itakuwa ngapi? 30%? 30% ya hii itakuwa ngapi hapa? 51, 57. How about this part P? 35% of that itakuwa ngapi? 60, 17. Then finally, Y will be receiving another 15% of this. Itakuwa ngapi hapa? 25. Aya, now, here, Y received again some portion from X. But Y cannot just retain this. Remember, it has to redistribute everything to the production department. So Y has to again give out this. Sasa tumeona the first one is under primary allocation. X will give out what it is having. After giving out, Y also comes in to give out what it has received under primary and also under secondary from X. We've seen how Y has given out its expenses. Then X received some amounts from Y. It has to again distribute that. It distributed it. This is what X has done, has distributed that amount received until it was remaining with nothing. But because Y received some amount, Y has to distribute this again. Y has to distribute this again. So if you look at the trend here, it is X giving out again up to Y. Y also giving out back to X again. X has to distribute what it received from Y. again, Y received, and then Y has to give out that amount again in the proportion in which you are given there. This is the origin of the name repeated or stepwise method. You have to repeat this procedure until X will have 0 to give out, Y will have 0 to give out. Then you get now the summation of everything. Is your problem solved? Is your problem solved now? There's someone who has an issue, who had an issue with that. Is your problem solved? Is your problem fully solved? This one is going to who? Sasa tuko na videos zote na watu hawataki hata kuwatch. So is that solved? Are we able to proceed and even complete everything? Are we able to proceed and complete everything down there? Are we able to proceed and complete everything down there? What you need to understand again, at the end of the day, this is what is going to happen. At the end of the day, if you want to know that your formula is correct or not, you will be able to get 433,046. 2, is it 2? Let me see what you people gave me here. It was equivalent to 293, 391. And this other one was equivalent to 343, 564. So just do that procedure. But at the end of the day, when you add everything here, after getting 0 huku, make sure that you are getting something of this kind. I have a quiz. If you are asked absorption rate, what are total overheads to be used? Are primary allocation or secondary allocation? Sasa hapo tumefikiwa. Remember, we've said, even if you use stepwise or repeated method, you're going to arrive at the same answer. So this is the final result that you are getting. But look how the examiner was very funny. This examiner wanted you people to pass everything here. If I was this person, this is what I could have done. To confuse everybody, I could have given you this. I know it is an error, it's not to be possible, but as an examiner, I will be giving you somewhere here. I indicate units, I indicate or hours, the hours that were spent here for the departments. So I will come here and give you 1100, the way the examiner has given you. I come here and give you 3500 hours. I come here and give you 2000 hours. So that to make somebody get 0, I come here and now tell you, we also spent 2500 hours. We spent 1750 hours. Tukifanya hivi, wengine sasa wataanza kupotea. So remember, what we are doing here is the reapportionment of overheads. First of all, we are doing primary allocation, which was done. So in the August sitting, the assignment which I've just mentioned, that assignment, the August sitting paper, this one is not done. You have to do it. Unaona here 180,000, 220,000, 186. You will have to do it by yourself first. Having done this, you transfer it now to this part of doing the reapportionment. The reapportionment, they have mentioned the method there. You again do the reapportionment. Having done the reapportionment, you now come to this part. You now come to this part of getting overhead absorption rate. Up to this time, I believe nobody is not aware of this method of overhead absorption rate. Is equal to budgeted overheads divided by budgeted activity level. Here, they are now requesting us to give them the overhead absorption rate for the departments. Do we have budgeted overheads? These ones here were overheads allocated under primary allocation. Then we've done secondary allocation for the overheads. What we are getting here is what we call budgeted overheads. What we have here, which we have been given in the question, these hours here, is the budgeted hours. So this budgeted activity level, it can be units, it can be hours, it can be number of movements. For our case, it is hours. If you go ahead, are you able now to calculate overhead absorption rate? Are you able to calculate it here now? Are you able to calculate it here? Florence, are you able to calculate it here? If yes, go ahead and give me the overhead absorption rate for M, N, and P. These ones here, we are reapportioning them back to the production department. So at the end of the day, they have no effect. That's why the examiner will always not give you this one. But if I was one of them, I also bring in even these departments with zero amounts, just to confuse some of you. I decide to bring them even for X and Y, which are doing reapportionment, to make some people do things that are not even within the syllabus. So that's what you're supposed to do. And I expect you to mention the answers here. Now watu sasa wamenyamaza. The first one ni ngapi for M? What is the overhead absorption rate? 393.68. 393.68. Na hapa ni ngapi N? N ni ngapi? 83.83. Then P ni ngapi? P ni ngapi? P ni ngapi? 171.78. Here we are dealing with amounts and the budgeted activity level is hours. So you'll tell us that the overhead absorption rate, maybe one by one, will be shillings 393.68 per labor hour or per hour. That's what you're going to give us there. So that is it. I believe that question is now tackled perfectly. And should it appear in your exams, you should be able to tackle it. You never know. It should be able to appear in your exams. So, pambana na hii, then you wait for your exams. Of course, the ATD people take care of this. It was not there in your paper. So as you prepare for your exams, take care of this. The CPS students, of course, it was there. What they can do now, they can give you a full question to do the primary allocation. But remember, it is almost related to ABC. So look at the question which was tested. Do we have ABC in the question? If not, please start working on ABC as early as today. If ABC is not there, the overhead analysis sheet, this one here, the primary allocation, whereby you have to do it to arrive at 340. Again, check on that, even though it was here, but on a brief note. So start working on them as early as today. Mtu anaturudisha nyuma. Three B sasa ni gani? Let me see. As 3B si ni tumefanya ama ni gani? These are the answers to 3B. Ama kuna ingine? Si ni hizi ama? Yeah, so that's what we have there for 3B. That is the end of revision for that particular question from topic number 4. So I want us to decide advantages of centralized Hiyo sasa siwezi fanya kabisa. Hiyo tuko nayo kwa ile 72 pages document. Nikiwafanyia theory mtasahau. Nikiwafanyia theory mtasahau. But if I trading account. Trading account, you are going to have sales. Then you give us cost of sales. And this cost of sales entails opening stock. If you're talking about inventory management or inventory valuation, where you are using weighted average method, remember, first of all, the examiner will tell you that the opening stock was this number of units and this value. So that's what you're going to indicate, the value of your opening stock. Then you add purchases. They are not doing production, they are purchasing purchases. Sasa purchases, utaenda kwa ile column ya receipts. Unaona hiyo receipts? Walinunua on 1st of September, they bought this number of units at this price. Hiyo una pick the way they are. You get the total of whatever was purchased, unakuja unaweka hapa. Then you less closing stock. You less closing stock. Your closing stock, if you look at your analysis sheet here, you add as at 30th of September, you add 4,000 units at a cost of 754,700, something of this kind. That's what you come and less. If you less that, you're going to get cost of sales. Unaweka hapa. Hii cost of sales, when you deduct, you're going to get what we call gross profit. Haujafanya anything. You've not deducted the fixed costs. You've not deducted the fixed production overheads. You've not deducted any other cost related to production. You've not deducted the cost of these goods that were sold. Whatever you are getting is the gross profit. This is the trading account. When you add any other expense down here, it changes from trading account to profit or loss. How do I get sales? Sasa sales, jameni. There were some issues. In the receipts, you add issues. Where were you issuing these goods to? You are issuing these goods, that is, you are selling them. If you are selling them, you will be told the selling price, utambiwa, as at this date when they were issued, or if the selling price is the same throughout, you will also be told. Are some of those things there in the question that you are referring to? Do you have something to do with? Kuna selling price hapo. Do we have selling price somewhere there? Do we have selling price somewhere there? Do we have selling price somewhere there? Confirm kama tuko na selling price. Confirm kama tuko na selling price. We have been given that question. We are being told the tiles were purchased at this one here on 30th, were sold at a price of 240. So we have different selling prices. Is it? The different selling prices is what you're going to use. So in this column of issues, you are able to see you issued. So here, and you also have to be very keen. Whatever you are preparing here, you are dealing with the costs, not the selling prices. So having identified that on this day, you issued 700 or 7,000 units, and the selling price at that date is 400. You add to the goods that were issued on 2nd of August, 400 units at a selling price of 230. You add everything in that column, and then that is the sales value. Tumelewana? Tuachane na hiyo, follow this one here. Wachana na hiyo T. Wachana na hiyo T. Wachana na hiyo T. T will consume a lot of your time, but here you only have 5 minutes. Unaeka sales, you add. Unaeka opening stock, you just post. But T, you are going to take a lot of time. You are going to draw the T itself. Tuachane na hizo mambo mingi. So let's come to process, and God willing, we are going to complete it at the end of this week. That is on Friday. That is on Friday. That is on Friday. That is on Friday. So let's go to topic number 6. You can access it through LMS. There you check what is there within these 5